This is Prepper Nation. I am John. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Nellis, very, very much for supporting the channel. I truly appreciate that. So, going to have a quick conversation. I know a second video one day. What's going on here, son? We're going to be talking about sometimes you just see stuff and it's so stupid, but at the same time, it's very dangerous. And you just, at least I do, I feel compelled to speak on it this morning. So, what I'll do is I'll put this intel down in the video description below. It'll be a link straight to the article. But anyway, New York City, bold like Joe's promise. I had to throw that in there. I'm not a fan of the NFL anymore, but when I was, Joe Namath was the greatest quarterback of all time, son, and that's a hill I'll die on. But I digress. New York City, a sanctuary city here in 2024. They've been one for a while now, a sanctuary city. God, what a term that is, right? They're having trouble, see, with all of the illegals. They call them undocumented immigrants or distressed immigrants. All of the illegals that Texas is sending their way and the border states are sending their way. All of the sudden, this sanctuary city, they don't know what to do with them. You know, it's almost like they were warned, but they didn't heed the warning, and now they're just sitting there like, what do we do? Mayor Eric Adams has a plan. And this brings us to the article. Again, this is something so stupid and so unbelievable. Even for 2024, I had to do a double take. I'm like, what? So they have a tent city filled with illegals because they have nowhere else to dump these people that they care so much about. You know, the hotels and things are filled up. They filled up everything else that they can. So they're moving 1900 illegals from a tent city in New York City indoors into James Madison High School. And they are forcing the kids at James Madison High School now to go to virtual learning, like we saw during the C-19 during the pandemic, you know, where you're Skyping and all that stuff, because that works out so great. You know, the education departments, they've admitted as much. That was the worst point for public schools in history. Nobody learned anything. There was no learning going on. They couldn't even indoctrinate kids virtually because kids weren't paying attention. But anyway, the article goes on to specifically say there's an outrage from parents and local residents. Um, and I don't know what else to say on this other than, and y'all have heard this before. I've probably heard it in chat from y'all. You play stupid games, and sometimes you win stupid prizes on the back end. Folks in New York City, if you're one of these parents that is affected, I'm not even going to say I'm sorry. I'm not even going to say that I sympathize with you. And I have parents in school, but we tried to tell you. Conservatives around this country tried to tell people that were gaslit inside of these sanctuary cities, okay, this is a bad deal. You don't want to do this. You know, you could have learned from Martha's Vineyard. You could have learned from that experience and said, maybe we don't want this after all. Maybe we don't want people that we know nothing about taking dumps on public property, while we're trying to go out and shop with our kids or whatever. We try to tell you. And what was your response? I remember the responses from these people, these rainbow colored hair people that got kids, but they don't want people to think bad of them. So they're being like super inclusive. And we got to get these as many people that want to come, baby. Bring them on. We tried to tell you, you called us racist. I remember this. So forgive me this morning if I'm saving up my crocodile tears for some other time, because I'm not going to be shedding them on you, son. If y'all don't mind, take a quick second, shoot a thumbs up or down, hit subscribe. Okay, the YouTube stuff is out of the way. Let me tell you where the problem lies. A lot of people will blame. Already starting to see it on social media, this blame game. Who's responsible for this mess at the border and all of these people? Some are saying Abbott, some are saying the sanctuary city, some are saying Biden, some are saying Trump. So I want to dispel any and all rumors. All right, I'm going to come with receipts this morning. Feel free to share this out to a liberal friend who still has not woken up. They probably never will, but look, this is New York City at a glance. New York City has not voted in favor of a Republican president since 1984. 1984. From that moment forward, they have been voting Democrat, 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 down ballot Democrats for president. 60, 70%, I think. They have not had Republicans in Senate since 1992. That was the last time they put a Republican in the Senate to represent them in Congress. 1992. All right. The last Republican governor of the state of New York, 2002. So, again, let me tell you where the problem herein lies. You vote Democrat. You did this to yourself. And some people will say, "Well, I'm stuck in New York City and I can't afford to move and all of this stuff." And yes, there are circumstances. I totally get it. I'm not broad brushing it. But let me explain something to you this morning. It is getting to the point here in the United States of America where you can't afford to stay much longer in a sanctuary city because it's not your city anymore, right? If you're in New York City and you've got kids, your kids just got kicked out of their high school because they are now lower on the totem pole. Think about that. You're a taxpayer in New York City. You've got kids going to this school. You're funding the school. You're funding your kids' education, which is pitiful to begin with, but at least they get to go to the building. Not anymore. Mayor Eric Adams is saying these illegals that are squatting in this tent city, they belong here. They're more important than you and your children at this point. Just keep paying your taxes. Just keep paying your taxes. Don't leave New York City. We don't want anything to do with you. You are low down on the totem pole. He doesn't care if you have rainbow colored hair. He doesn't care, if you are projecting that you are as woke as they come, son. You are still below illegals at this point in what used to be your city. It's not your city anymore. Sorry to tell you. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Forgive me if I don't feel sorry for you. Because again, you were warned time and again. You were told time and again, this is going to happen. It's going to happen in other cities. If you happen to be in another sanctuary city, it's coming to you next. You were warned, come out of her, my people, get out of the city. Quit making excuses. Well, I've got to stay. My job's here. Go fetch you another one somewhere else where it's safe, where you belong, because New York City is lost to you. Your elected officials have done this to you. Not the orange man who is evil. Orange man evil. Not him, right? Not the Supreme Court. Not the newest straw man or boogeyman that CNN's throwing out there in MSNBC. No, your own elected officials have done this to you. And guess what? They're going to continue to do it. Whether you stay in the city or whether you bolt, they're going to continue to do it. You can stand up at some point and demand a conservative government, local government, and vote accordingly and get to the polls and make sure everything is counted at a local level. Or you can just sit in the dirty diaper that you've made for yourself. You made the bed. You know what I'm saying? People in New York City at this point, they have, when I say make the bed, I'm talking about they constructed everything. They built the frame out, they put the headboard on, they have stitched their own mattress up. Lay in the bed. I don't really care at this point. You deserve it. Your children don't. They don't deserve to be kicked out of their school for illegals because you're an idiot and you continue to vote for liberals, but you deserve it as a parent. A lot of parents that I saw on social media with all of this outrage. Well, what am I supposed to do? I have a job. I can't go to my job. I don't have a sitter for my kid. My kids are supposed to stay at home. What's going on here? You're an idiot. That's what's going on. You bought into the propaganda that Trump was going to turn the United States upside down. And guess what, Cupcake? Trump ain't the president. He's not the mayor. He's not in Senate. He's not in Congress whatsoever. He is a straw man. And while you're busy hating the orange man, your own elected officials are bending you over the barrel, and they're having fun with it. Let me just tell you. Um, Mayor Eric Adams warns, this is a direct quote from the article, this could destroy our city. Good. Oh, well, again, no crocodile tears to be had this morning. You know, I mean, it's dangerous, which we'll get into in a minute, but who cares? I'm not in New York City. I'm not stupid enough to be there at this point. Oh, well, let it crumble to the ground, you know, and may something better come of it. It probably won't. It'll be like a third world encampment or something. It pretty much already is that in spots at this point. But here's what's dangerous about it. And then I'll close her down, right? Here's what's dangerous about this whole thing. We often hear that New York City is like the epitome of the United States. It's a reflection of the United States. People outside of the United States, they may think of Disneyland. That's another conversation for another day. It's totally in the dumps. They may think California, maybe it's in the dumps, but most of them think New York City. If New York City is falling, because they continue to have liberals in charge. What do you think is going to happen to the rest of the country if we continue to have liberals squatting in the White House, stumbling around, eating ice cream and the such? What do you think is going to happen? It's very indicative. What's going on in New York City is going to spread at some point unless we get conservatives in charge. That's just my opinion. Folks, what's your opinion? Let me know down in the comment section below. Take care. God bless.